Okay, so thanks for your patience. The planning board meeting for North Smithfield for Thursday, March 23rd, 2023 is called to order at 7:03. First on our agenda is our roll call. Dr. Roberts?
Here.
Mr. Porter?
Here.
Mr. Keene?
Here.
Mr. Moore? Menard? Sorry, look right out. And the chair is here. We're missing Dr. Benoit and, well, actually, Dr. Benoit is the only member missing now? Right, because Mr. Fournier resigned.
Yeah, when does Mike's resignation go into effect?
I believe it was immediate when he, I'd have to look at it again when he sent it to me, but I believe it was immediate,
Yeah.
so. But we do have a quorum, so we're good to go. Item 3, the minutes from the February 23 meeting. I'm going to ask you to take a look at that, bring up any questions, concerns. Ms. Keene, did you have something?
There was,
Oh.
I was getting ready to make a motion. There was
No,
one,
no?
there was one that I noticed. The last item for the capital improvement segment, it does not include Dr. Roberts' vote.
Okay, yep. Yeah, it doesn't, so, Mr. Carrillo, if you could add in, it didn't have her, so it only shows 2 yes votes because Dr. Benoit had to recuse himself for that one.
Mr. King recused himself.
Oh, Mr. Keene did, that's right, you did. So that left us with 3.
Yes.
And it was a yes vote. But is there anything else?
No, I picked up on that too.
Yeah. Okay. Okay,
Now you like it. Now I'll move that we accept the minutes as corrected.
great. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are. Who was the second on that? It was me. I seconded it. And so they're accepted as corrected. Disclosure, so planning boards, are there any items to discuss, any potential conflicts on the matters before the board this evening?
I'm going to have to recuse myself on item 7, the minor subdivision at 11 Sayles Hill Road. My in-laws are direct abutters.
Mr. Keene, is that the same one you have to recuse yourself?
No.
Oh, good. Okay,
And I'm going to recuse myself on, I'm not sure which item it is.
I think
on
it's item 8.
Item 8, Bob Maury and I are on the Board of Directors for the Heritage Association.
Okay, so we'll have 2 different recusals, but we'll still have a quorum, so we'll be all right to vote on those. Anything else? Correct answer is no. Great, thank you. The disclosure notice, any planning board members have any ex parte communications to disclose about any contested or material adjudicatory facts or opinions concerning the merits of any application before the board this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 7. So this is the one you're recusing?
Yes.
So technically, you gotta go sit there. Great. So item 7, this is a public meeting, minor subdivision, 111 Sayles Hill Road, applicant James Carey, Assessor's Plat 17, Lot 127, Zone Residential Suburban, RS40. Applicant is requesting a preliminary plan approval to subdivide a 4.94 acre parcel to create 2 lots, one of 40,000 with the existing building, dwelling and outbuilding, and one conforming 4-acre parcel for construction of a new dwelling in the RS zoning district. Mr. Carrillo, you want to add to your to the
Mr.
summary?
Chairman, this is a straightforward minor subdivision. It was before the planning board in 2019 and received approval in a recorded decision in 2020. However, at the time, the applicant did not follow through with final approval and record the final plans. These plans are slightly amended from that plan. Matter of fact, they're a little bit more conforming as they altered the driveway on Lot 17, so there's no easement necessary across parcel A. They have all of their ISDS permits, and I believe there was an upgrade that was actually installed on the property as part of the original approval.
Okay, thank you. So, who's presenting on behalf? Okay, are you presenting on behalf of the project? Anything you want to provide for a presentation, or anything to add to it? There we go. Just introduce yourself, please.
Sure. For the record, Paul Carlson of InSite Engineering Services, representing the applicant. Unfortunately, I do not have any particular items for this particular project. But as Mr. Krul had mentioned, this project had been approved. And have you had an opportunity to see the plans?
We do have a copy.
You do have some in there? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great if you could bring one up.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Oh, you've got one you can put up there? Yeah. Great.
Yeah, sorry. Well, while he's pulling this up, I'll just give you a general background. The property located at Assessor's Plat 17, lot 127, 111 Sayles Hill Road. The existing parcel of land contains 4.94 acres of land. As Mr. Creel mentioned, this property is ultimately going to be subdivided into two. Parcel A, which will contain 4.03 acres of land with the existing or proposed OWTS with soil evaluations that were valid from DEM in this location. We have an existing home, lot 17, which will contain the 0.92 acres. Each of the properties will have sufficient frontage and area to comply with the zoning regulations, and as mentioned, there will be relocation or a relocated driveway in this area such that we do not cross over the property line. So pretty straightforward minor subdivision under a preliminary plan. So.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, when we open. All right, I'll be looking for a motion to open the public hearing.
I move that we open the public hearing.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The public hearing is open at 7:11. Anyone who wishes to ask any questions, make a comment, please come up to the podium, introduce yourself, and direct any questions or concerns to the board. Don't all rush up at once. Okay. Well,
Move that we close the public hearing.
we have a motion to close. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. We're closed, and we'll call it 7:12. Okay, does the board have any final questions or comments for the applicant?
I just have a question. I'm just curious what the detail is that makes it less non-conforming than last time, if that's
Right.
what
Right.
the planner was
Carl,
saying.
can we zoom in on that at all, around that driveway area? That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, I can't see.
You just pinch and drag, oh, sorry, you're not using an Apple device. Oh, there we go.
Second plan, you can see the old driveway that they're gonna have.
If he's gonna zoom in on this area right here, because it came across and it created a need for an easement.
Down, yeah, straight down from there.
Now it's been
Okay.
that
I
was,
just, I
that was
assumed it
concern.
was something like that, but I just
Because
wanted to
people
understand.
inherit those
Yeah.
easements and
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
always work out in the long run.
Yeah,
You
okay.
keep going down. Keep working. All right.
Almost there.
If you slide to the left, we'll get there. There you go.
The other left.
There you go.
There it is.
Okay.
So to your question, this was the old existing driveway that crossed over, and ultimately the relocation of that driveway will not cross over into that second plot.
All right. Were there any other stipulations that we had put on this from last time? I remember that one.
No, Mr. Chairman. As I said, this had been approved previously.
Right.
It was approved with the easement going across the property
Right.
line, but, if you don't really need to do that, it's usually not a good idea, because
It is a good idea.
long-term, it creates issues between property owners. So
Exactly.
the applicant was very cooperative in providing plans and information to the planning department, and that's the only stipulation we have.
Great. Not to mention, and frankly, the access is improved now because it's a 90-degree turn instead of having a sharp turn and all that, so that's good. Okay. So we'll be looking for a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the application.
How's it? Okay, we have a motion approved. Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second.
We have a second from Dr. Roberts. Roll call vote. Dr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Keen?
Aye, yes, sorry.
Mr. Menard?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So,
Great, thank you very much.
thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
If it's the board's pleasure, could we have a motion for administrative approval?
how does the board feel? Thank you. I think that's a good one.
Move that we grant administrative approval.
Great. Second?
Second?
We have a second. Roll call vote. Dr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Keen?
Yes.
Ms. Menard?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. So, great. That'll speed that up. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
All set. Item 8.
You guys are switching chairs here.
Okay. I'm just gonna let him-
Yeah, we'll go over that. Yeah.
Okay. Next on the agenda, again, public meeting, minor subdivision, Zuba Iron Mine Plat, the Zuba Family Trust at 0 Greenville Road. Assessors Plat 15, Lot 74, zoned rural agricultural, RA 65. The applicant is requesting preliminary plan approval to subdivide a vacant 45.14 acre parcel, create 2 lots, one 23 acre lot for construction of a new dwelling, and one 22 acre lot for construction of a new dwelling in the RA zoning district. Anything to add to that, Mr. Carrillo?
As you can see, this is a substantial lot on the bottom half of Iron Mine Road. The property does have a historic cemetery on it and some substantial wetlands. An environmental review was performed by Natural Resource Services, and they delineated the wetlands, and the buffers are indicated on the plan. The proposal here is just to simply divide that lot into 2 fully conforming lots. There's sufficient and substantial area to build a dwelling on each lot. They also performed perk tests, and those should be part of your package, determining that the property is suitable for OWTS.
Thank you. Anything that you want to add to that?
Sorry,
No.
Paul.
Thanks, Mark, I appreciate it. I'll just quickly run snapshot over that. Again, the record, Paul Carlson of InSite Engineering Services for the Zuba Family Trust. As Mark mentioned, Assessor Plat 1574, located in the southwest corner, southeast corner of Iron Mine and Greenville Road. There's high schools located here. As mentioned, this has 45 acres of land, which runs basically around the whole perimeter here. Natural Resources did flag the wetlands. We have a substantial wetland located on Greenville, and then just some isolated areas here and along the back. And as the 2 historical cemeteries that were mentioned, those are located in this general area here.
That's where both of them are?
Yes.
Okay.
Aerial doesn't necessarily show too much there, so I'll flip through, but as proposed, we have a 2-lot subdivision Parcel A, located here, will have frontage of both along Iron Mine and along Greenville Road, having 23.1 acres of land, and parcel B having 22.1 and 400 feet of frontage. As Mark mentioned, flagged by NRS, and we do have valid soil evaluations on
Right.
both lots.
Right.
So we're looking for a preliminary plan approval from this board at this particular point.
Any questions? Sure, that's a good idea.
I'll move that we open the public hearing.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have a second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nobody opposed? Great. Public hearing is open at 7:18. Again, anyone who wishes to come up, speak, ask questions, but could go to the podium and direct your questions here. I guess we're good.
All right.
Yeah.
Going to make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Have a second?
Second.
And those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed at 7:19. Okay. So now, do we have any questions from the board?
How steep is this site? I know from my high school days running up and down the Iron Mine Hill Road, it is quite steep in some areas, and I can tell with the contours and everything.
Granted, we're looking at a pretty substantial scale plan, you know,
Mhm.
200. So in doing such that all these contours do seem to stack up. I would say that there are some substantial areas of you know, flat areas located in the back, somewhere here. Probably in this area and in these generals, you're probably 10% slopes that are in there, but nothing that could not or would prohibit any type of construction.
Sure. Okay.
Can you give an approximate idea of where you, I mean, obviously, we're not holding you to, but where the dwellings would be?
Certainly, for
Creative.
parcel A, what we would be, I think what Mike would be looking at is in
The
this
flat area?
general area here. And then in parcel B, it hasn't really been determined, but we do
Again,
have valid soil evaluations up here. But, you know, we have some pretty substantial flat area in this location.
So, yeah, you have that small area there.
Yep.
You really wouldn't be able to do access from Greenville Road.
Not to the buildable land
Because, I mean, it looks like
here.
you have to cross wetlands.
And that really isn't the idea. The idea would be coming off Iron Mine, yes.
So in both cases, it looks like the driveway access takes you across the steepest part to get to the flat part. Now, is that all, well, it's not all uphill. On one of them it is, right?
This is probably the height, well, the flattest section here for Lot A, and then everything kind of, you know, drains in these different wetland areas, but does drain this. And then, I would say the same thing here, this kind of drains down into these wetlands in that location, so.
But where you'd be entering on Iron Mine for the second parcel,
For this here,
yeah.
don't necessarily know, but anywhere along, it's 400 feet of frontage.
Right, but I'm just saying, when you come in to get to, would
Yeah,
the
you-
driveway basically be going downhill?
Probably right through here and then up into the flatter area.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that, but is there need for, you know, kind of carving that out? Is there any,
No, I think they would
Excavation
be
needed
able
to
to
be-
utilize the existing contours that are there. It might be steep in some of the areas, but they'll be able to not necessarily have to carve a, you know, canyon to get
Right,
into those
right.
areas. That won't
Okay.
be possible, unnecessary.
okay.
That way.
I mean, we'll see more of that later if this is approved.
Yeah.
So there'd be no disturbance in that large wetlands area, of course. It looks like you have a comfortable amount of room. I realize that this is pretty large scale, but it looks like you have a small wetlands area, right where the block that says parcel A.
Yeah, right in here.
That's a few hundred feet wide there between wetlands?
Yeah, this is probably 300 or so
Oh.
feet through here. Yeah.
Okay. So that's comfortable. Okay.
I mean, just as a reference, just this, from that point here to here, that's 210 feet. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got about 250-ish.
Okay. And all those other properties are probably properties on Grange Road, right? Something like that.
Are you talking about these here?
No, on the other side.
Here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Pomona Drive.
Pomona.
Pomona Drive,
Pomona,
okay.
yep.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? No? What do you-
And you had said this is for primarily residential?
2
Use-
residential homes.
It's
Okay.
two residential properties,
All right,
Yeah.
so,
just wanted to make sure I heard that right.
yeah, so it's pretty straightforward, actually.
Okay.
These are served by well?
They will be served by well, and as I mentioned, OWTSs, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, if there's nothing else, I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
Mark, you didn't have any stipulations on this?
Yeah, there are 3 stipulations. DEM wetlands permit for the construction of the homes, which is required. There was a scale issue on the plan, so we need to correct that for the plan to be recorded. And I did cite the buffer setback for the historic cemeteries. A lot of people aren't aware of that or do not know about it, but it's a minimum 25-foot setback from the perimeter of any cemetery. So I would like that placed on the plan, so.
No,
Sure. I thought we had a 50-foot setback from historic
Cemeteries
cemeteries.
is 25.
25.
Okay. Okay.
is it 50 from historic structure?
No, it's 150.
150, okay. Yeah, I knew we had one that was larger, but,
And
Okay.
we did physically locate the edge of the cemetery. There isn't a, we'll call it defined
Defined
edge,
perimeter,
Mhm.
but we did locate the outside perimeter,
Sure.
and we did distinguish that. And it's kind of totality, even though they're 3 distinct cemeteries, but we then just put a big buffer around that
Mhm.
25.
is there currently anything, some of those cemeteries have markers, even some metal,
Two
Places.
have actually signs, right, if I'm not mistaken, 3 of them have signs. So they are delineated as historic cemeteries.
okay.
Okay.
I'm just wondering about the border of it, so that when kids are playing, just to,
There is, right,
right, but,
I think there's only one that had some post on, kind of on the outside edge, but
Right.
the other 2 didn't have anything.
yeah, I'm just thinking of something where, because it's in the middle of somebody's, what's gonna be somebody's land, they have their house, and they have kids playing around, something to make it more visible. A sign is fine, but not necessarily for an 8-year-old, to know that I've gotta stay
Put something
outside of,
outside edge?
There's two burials in one of the cemeteries, and then there's, and then there's probably 4 or 5 field stones for the second one, and then the last one has half dozen maybe
but since, and,
graves, yeah.
and so, you should really get up and introduce yourself, since you're,
No, I know.
and if you
I know
could,
it's-
and if you could, because I have
it's
a follow-on
historical.
question. A follow-on question, that would be good to hear from the
Yep.
Historical Association,
Heritage Association.
Heritage Association, right?
Rich Keene, 7 Bamford Street. I'm the president of the North Smithfield Heritage Association.
So I'm just curious, because, and from the Heritage Association's perspective, should it be delineated? It's one thing with these cemeteries, there's one right by my house, but it's in woods, it's not in an area that's trafficked or anything. And there's only 2 burial sites there, but they're well-marked with their stones and all that. But once they become out in the open, I think of the ones on Great Road and stuff like that, they tend to have a very clear perimeter, meaning walk
Yeah.
wherever you want, but don't go inside here, that kind of.
Yeah, they sit right on top of an esker, so there's steep sides on
Yeah,
2
typical.
sides. So it's pretty obvious there that the cemeteries are there, and
So you don't see the need for anything?
I
additional?
really,
No.
I think it's pretty obvious, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it could be done with foliage too, right? With-
Yeah.
With plantings or whatever, yeah.
I'm sure the zoo family would work with
Yeah.
Mr. Dean to.
Yeah, that'd be the only thing, just to
Have some
protect,
sort of
the
delineation.
kids are kids and,
I'm sure there's no problem.
Yeah, if
Working with them.
you know a tree guy, maybe cut down some of the trees there, that would be nice.
I can tell you, there'll be no kids playing, my daughter's 28, my son's 25.
yeah. Okay. So, okay, thank you.
What's necessary to.
Yeah, yeah, give that some thought for the next phase, and, because I think that's, would be the right thing to do. Okay. Anything else? Looking for a motion to
Yep.
approve.
I'll make that motion to give preliminary approval for the minor subdivision, along with the planning office recommendations as listed 1 through 3 in our agenda this evening.
So we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Roll call vote. Dr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Ms. Menard?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Great, thank you. And I would also ask if we could also have a final approval administratively on this one as well.
Final approval, no, that's right, because it's preliminary. Okay,
I have no objection.
okay.
Yeah.
So, need a motion?
I'll make a motion to have this be approved administratively.
All right. Do we have a second?
Can you explain what that means?
Administratively, it means that at final approval, they're not coming before us. The planner will go over and make sure everything was stipulated, and we're putting it in their hands. Okay. So I need a second.
Essentially, we approved it, but Mark is gonna get the final stamping once he sees that everything that we've put into requirements is met.
If it's not, it will come back before the board, or if there's an issue with the final plan
Right.
and we can't resolve it, that will come back before the board.
So we have a motion, we've had discussion. Can we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Roll call vote. Dr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Menard?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes for administrative.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Gotta share my microphone
So that's, so item 9, which is the item that's been kicked down the road a little bit, election of officers for,
We have a majority of.
we've had a majority, but it originally was, I mean, Dr. Benoit is likely to be a voting member now, correct? Given the resignation, so it's really whether or not we should move it until we have all the voting members here, which was his original reason for suggesting it, so with him absent, and now he's likely to be a voting member, it seems appropriate to honor his request that way. Do you agree?
All right.
So do we need to vote on that?
Table it till the next meeting.
Okay.
I would like to add one item to the agenda for discussion only. For this evening, yeah. Okay. I'd like to amend the agenda to include discussion about the comprehensive plan.
So we have a motion to amend tonight's agenda to have a brief discussion about the comprehensive plan, discussion only.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay. So, so amended.
Okay. So it was just something that was on my mind. There's been a lot of discussion at town council meetings that I have spent hours sitting at for some nights painstakingly. And there's a lot of talk about the comprehensive plan. I understand that our comp plan was put into effect in 2019. We are now approaching the 5-year mark of when we have to have it renewed. So my thought was that over the course of the next year, we start exercising having our secondary meeting. And there's 12 chapters of the comp plan. Maybe we can just start knocking them off one by one as we go through. So then that way, by the time 2024 comes around, we have a well-thought-out, revised comp plan to continue moving things forward. Because there's a lot of things going on in town right now that are not addressed in the comp plan, and I think that it would behoove us to get on top of it and move that forward. It sounds like the council wants to have a lot of discussion about where this town is going, and I think what better way to start having those discussions with planning board workshops. And then even at that point, invite other committees to participate, Parks and Rec Conservation Commission, Economic Development Commission,
The new water supply.
the new water supply. There's a lot of new players in town, so I think also having that collaboration amongst committees. I know we had a brief meeting with some of the boards with the Hallowell Review Committee, with the library, the Parks and Rec, the Arts Committee, the Senior Advisory Committee, and that went very successfully. Having that discussion to kind of figure out some items for Hallowell. So I think that would, just to get us starting to think about how we'd like to update our comp plan, what our goals are going to be for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I know Mr. Keene has shared quite a few documents with us in the past about, you know, some of the Heritage Association items that they've been working on that could be very easily worked into the comp plan for reference. I've been saving all the newsletters that come through with some of the items that come up, recognizing some historic areas that would be beneficial just to be mentioned and noted in the comp plan. So it was just one of those things that I thought it would probably, rather than waiting till 2024 for it to
Right.
expire, and then we kind of hit the ground running, if we could take one chapter, you know, a month.
No, I think we can do better than that. And what I would recommend on that, because I think 12 extra meetings would be a little unwieldy for it. And also, you know, I think what we can do is look at, you know, we should take a look at the chapters and see, you know, not every board or commission or committee needs to be involved with each chapter. And so look at them and maybe group them and say, you know, we need conservation, parks and rec, you know, and the water for these 2 chapters, and hold a meeting just for that, so we get them in. That way we're getting them in for just one meeting instead of
Yeah.
for additional.
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
So I think if we organize it that way, it'll go more smoothly, and we'll get a little better buy-in too. If they're not, you know, because some of them already are, you know, kind of committed to other stuff, right? So,
Yeah, and I would hope that, you know, we could certainly look to have a joint meeting with the town council to discuss some things. You know, if there's a need for the Heritage Association and the Historic Commission to kind of team up and attend a meeting for the historic chapter.
Yep.
There's also, you know, the town buildings, so even having the Asset Management Commission come forward, see if they have started to work on assessments of existing buildings and inventory and all that good stuff, just to kind of see where things have played out, because groups like the Asset Management Commission have been in formation since, I want to say 2016. And, you know, they're briefly mentioned in the comp plan, but, you know, they certainly have a big role in inventory, maintenance, buildings, everything that has been hot topic items going on lately. So, again, just something to put in the forefront of everybody. If you know, however the layout however the format plays out, certainly open to whatever suggestions. If we do 2 chapters, you know, 12 chapters,
yeah, I think,
whatever.
and it depends on the chapter. Some are beefier than others
Yeah,
too, so
certainly.
we have to allocate time accordingly. So we should plan a time when we can at least plan out that, how we divvy it up, and you know, who are the right resources to have at each, for each of those, right? And then we can take that matrix and turn it into a series of meetings.
Sure.
But I know that one of the things too is to look at the comp plan versus ordinances and things, because there are places where there's at least, they're vague enough that they can create conflict.
Yep.
Or in some cases just are not in sync with each other. And I think part of this effort should be to clean that up, because it, you know, it causes problems whenever you touch on those. The other thing is that we did make a bunch of changes and updates to the comp plan a couple of years ago or so.
It was about 3 years ago.
But never,
Before
but,
COVID.
but never, yeah, it was right before
Yeah.
COVID, but then it didn't go through the full approval process.
Oh, okay.
So we'll start from that version of it. But yeah, you know, because I'm a big proponent, frankly, of doing even annual small updates, incremental updates.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're doing this on 5 years and not 10 or so.
Yeah.
I think the last one was 14 or so, but yeah.
And it's I'm trying to get it back to the forefront, because I think, we were at a good point in 2019. We were gonna start doing it, then COVID, pandemic, and then we lost a planner, we gained a planner, so we've kind of
Right.
hit a couple stumbling blocks, so I'd like to kind of get that back on track.
Yeah, it does come up at other meetings. I can tell you at the new Water Supply Committee meeting, we've specifically, he's talked about things that you can say whatever you want here, but you gotta make sure it starts at the comp plan. And if the comp plan is gonna be meaningful, then it starts there, because that lays out the vision and is the kind of overarching document. So we really need to get that. And the last update was a very good update. So I think we can even top that this time.
I'd like to, I think that's a great idea, and I'd like to set the intention to publish the matrix and the topics in advance, so that residents, not only boards and commissions, which I also support reaching out to very intentionally, is to have residents who are interested in those topics be able to know in advance when
Yeah,
the
and every
workshops
meeting-
are having.
Every meeting will have to be a public meeting.
Yeah,
by
but what I
definition,
mean is
But
to
make
give
sure they
people
know.
ample heads
Yeah.
up, because sometimes a meeting sneaks up on you, but if we publish
Yeah.
all the dates and the
Actually,
topics,
You're right,
people
we
can.
can publish a calendar
Yeah.
of when, of the meetings and what's gonna be covered in each one. That's great, yeah.
Yeah, and I know about 10 years ago when we did a revision, we wanted to do charrettes and have a lot of resident engagement, but it didn't really happen that way.
Right,
So I think it would just be good for us to consider how we engage and educate residents
Mhm.
so that they can meaningfully participate.
okay.
Can also put the upcoming meetings, whatever that workshop is going to be about, in the town newsletter.
Well, they have to, they'll have to be published like any other town meetings. They'll have to be
Will have
appropriate,
to be in the.
file with this, Secretary of State, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I believe all town meetings also are published in the town newsletter,
Yeah, they are.
so, but I think it'd be good to get, when we have the calendar, maybe we'll get some column inches in the Valley Breeze or something like that, or, that would wanna,
He's on soccer call.
or the Woonsocket Call, for that matter, the big newspaper, to publish that agenda, because I think that'd be very helpful for people, so.
Yeah, and I think as part of that, to engage maybe high school teachers who work with youth on civic education. I know we have one teacher in particular, Mrs. O'Brien, who does a lot of civic engagement
yeah.
with the youth.
Yeah.
Maybe we could try and outreach and have some younger people around too.
We were talking about that, yep, so. And by the way, I think free press means it doesn't cost anything. So- It's always good to get some altruistic press coverage, But anyway, so, anything else on that? But that's been an idea we've been kicking around. I think it'd be
So-
great to
so-
get this in place and get it moving soon, so.
So this will be a topic on the next,
Yes, I think
Next
then,
agenda.
at the next meeting, we could have the last item be where we talk about and create that matrix of,
Yeah.
right?
I'll take a stab at it first, and then.
Perfect.
We can,
Yeah,
yeah, why don't I put that together, and then I'll share that with Mark, and he can distribute, and then we can have,
the plan's not that thick, so go through it,
yeah,
we can look through it fairly quickly and.
Yep.
Compile what natural resources, parks and recreation.
yep, yeah,
and
There's certain things that just go together.
yeah.
exactly.
can we hang the updated version that we left off on the town website so that people can look at it?
I don't believe so.
Wasn't approved.
No, it wasn't approved.
Well, it doesn't, it's just a draft.
Yeah, but
If people, if we're using that as a starting
Right.
document, then
I'd want to check with the solicitor on that. I don't know that would work, because it's not approved. Because we're putting it out there as if it was. Remember, what could happen is that we put all this in, including those changes, right? And then the town council nixes some of those changes.
yeah, I know, but it's planning documents. We put up applications that are approved on there. Why can't we put up a?
But those aren't, those plans are just for the applicant. They're not
It's for the,
steering the town.
No, it's for the
They're not
public.
town documents.
It's for the public to
I
have.
understand, but they're not town documents, that's the difference. So
Oh.
for it to be, because it's an official town document,
Okay.
I'll check with him.
Okay.
And if he says, okay, that's a
Yeah.
great idea, I'm just saying, I would want to see both, you know, that, the currently approved one, and here's our starting point.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to get a copy of it myself anyway, just.
Yep,
just
we
so I
all,
can
we all
be
need
able to
updated
Probably
copies,
have it somewhere.
current copies.
It's on the
Um,
website.
Oh, it is
Why
on
don't
the
we,
website?
Good luck finding it.
why
Yeah, I
don't-
was gonna say, navigator on that.
why don't we could set up a meeting, you and I, with Mark and or Bobby,
Yeah, sure.
to do that, you know, get access to the top of the tower, you know. You know, go sit in the luxurious conference room and all that stuff, and,
It's not
You know.
that
With the view of
luxurious.
the common.
no, it's not. It's just, every time I come to sign something that, you know, some approval or something like that, I'm stopped at the border, and I have to just leave it there, and then it's
Fort Knox
delivered.
doesn't have as good security.
I know,
as does-
it's, I'm like, I just want to go up to the planning office, I'm the chair of the planning board.
You just need to know the right people to talk to.
Apparently.
I've gotten up to Mark's office, no problem.
Well, I've gotten up there, but somebody,
What you do is walk, you gotta,
Oh, no,
you gotta walk around like you belong there.
yeah.
oh, see, I get the,
Walk at the post office.
I just go in the front, in the clerk's office, and I get the key card, and they just give it to me, and I go up.
Walk in, nobody questions.
Oh, I haven't tried that, they're always so nice, maybe I'll try that, just, can I have the key card? I never thought it was that easy.
It's all who you know.
Jeez. Anyway, all right, so you put that on the agenda for next time, Mark, please? Thank you.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
Second.
We do. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. We are adjourned at 7:44.